So, as many of you have probably heard, Caitlin Clark has finally officially been announced as the WNBA Rookie of the Year. This is something that has been coming for quite some time. It should have been known to be coming since really the word go, after the first really month of the season. Even though the Indiana Fever's record wasn't great, she was more than holding her own. And definitely outperforming Angel Reese, the other one they kind of shoehorned into the Rookie of the Year discussions, even though it wasn't completely warranted. And I'll get to her in a second, but Caitlin Clark's the voting for her WNBA Rookie of the Year award was not unanimous. I think she got 66 votes to 1, and 1 went to Angel Reese, so 1 vote away from being unanimous. For me personally, I don't really see that as a huge deal. I don't know what MVPs in the past have been unanimous, which ones haven't. I know A'ja Wilson's MVP this year in the WNBA is unanimous because they said before the season she needs to be the unanimous MVP, and the woke media who votes on these things obliged and gave her the unanimous MVP, even though Dephisia Collier deserved a few votes at least, and quite honestly had a good case for it. But that's neither here nor there. For me, so I know a lot of people are talking about it, and I get it. I mean, it's kind of crazy that people still feel that way, that they have to, protect the cause, protect the culture, whatever, and not not make sure that Caitlin's not unanimous, that Angel Reese, somebody who's not white, gets some recognition, because that helps everything so much when somebody not related to them and with no affiliation with them has something good happen to them. It helps them somehow. The amount you have to be broken to feel that way is pretty crazy, and people like that still exist, so I expected that. And quite honestly, for a long time, really until the last month of the season, I fully expected the media to give that award to Angel Reese. They had her hype train rolling, and that's something I want to talk about, is hype trains. The media had her hype train rolling big time, and I just knew they were going to give it to Angel Reese. But as the season progressed and Caitlin just kept getting better and better, I mean, she'd already distanced herself from Angel in the first month of the season. They beat her twice early. They had a third game, had a big lead, blew it. Chicago won in Chicago, and afterwards Angel Reese gave a big hug to Caitlin Clark hater Cheryl Swoops. And I am 100% convinced that every night before she goes to sleep, Cheryl Swoops goes into Angel Reese's room and checks under her bed for Caitlin Clark. I'm just going to come out and say, I believe that's happening. I truly believe that's happening right now. Every night, I think Cheryl Swoops goes into Angel Reese's room, checks under her bed, and makes sure Caitlin Clark isn't there. And I believe that in Vegas, every night before A'ja Wilson goes to bed, Kelsey Plum and or Becky Hammond comes in to A'ja Wilson's room and checks under A'ja Wilson's bed to make sure there's no 8-year-old girl with a Caitlin Clark jersey on under her bed. A'ja Wilson is obviously very worried about shit popping off in Indiana whenever something good happens with Indiana. That was her words exactly. All those little girls in there celebrating Caitlin Clark, wanting to be like Caitlin Clark, trying to absorb some of her positive energy brought there by their parents and the families. Yeah, that's a riot. That's a riot waiting to happen. And I mean, if she feels unsafe there, I don't know what to tell you, but that's just emblematic of that bubble that they've been in, the bubble they need to get out of if the WNBA wants to be anything. But like I said, for those reasons, I was fully expecting them, no matter what, to give the award to Angel Reese. She had her fraudulent double-double streak, which was her stat padding, and we saw it quite a few times. It was called out. The fans were never impressed by her. Only the fans that were trying to be a part of that very, very small audience, we'll call it the A'ja Wilson Memorial audience. Maybe they can build a statue outside of the Woke Central or whatever, wherever they keep it. Maybe they can build a statue of her next to George Floyd's statue. Pretty pathetic, really. But the fact that Caitlin Clark got all but 1 vote, that shows you just how, A, good she was, and B, how far the Angel Reese hype train went away. I've seen a lot of hype trains in sports throughout the years, from the time I've started watching or remembering in the early 90s to present. I mean, hype trains are a yearly occurrence in every league. Somebody looks like they're going to get hot, they're going to take that next step. A rookie looks like they're going to make an immediate impact, and the hype train starts going a million miles an hour. And there's a lot of outcomes for these hype trains. Some of them crash and burn. They fall right off the tracks, tumble, get smashed into pieces, and then the debris catches on fire and burns it to the ground, and burns it into a burnt out husk. We've seen hype trains just fall off the tracks, going over a bridge and plunge into the icy water below. We've seen hype trains catch on fire while still going full speed on track, and just keep going and going until the train finally melts and then it falls off. There's been a lot of different outcomes, but I've never seen a hype train in the way Angel Reese's has. Hers did not go out with a bang. Her hype train was going a million miles an hour, it seemed like. And then the fourth game against Indiana, they got blown out. Caitlin Clark left the game with about 3 or 4 minutes left. She had nothing left to do. The building was full of Caitlin Clark fans. She signed so much merchandise of her own after the game, but plus it was Barbie night. That's Angel Reese's nickname. They had a bunch of pink Barbie stuff, and Caitlin Clark was over there signing that stuff for their fans just because she's nice and signs every autograph that's asked of her that we know of. That pretty much ended it right there. And from that point forward, we knew that Caitlin Clark was probably going to win the MVP, but I thought it was going to be tightly contested. But Angel Reese's continued stat padding, and then the fact she had to leave she left the season early with an injury, with Chicago still in playoff contention, what the doctors told her she could continue, she wanted to. She's like, nah, I want to be good for the unrivaled 3-on-3 league that's coming up that nobody's going to watch. And I want to worry about next season of my whole career. That turned a lot of people off. Her podcast, Unapologetically Angel, which is unapologetically garbage. Tried to watch the first episode, got about 7 minutes, and just absolutely could not take any more. And I'm convinced my IQ is much lower now because of that, because of those 7 minutes. But her hype train did not crash. It didn't crash and burn. It was going full speed ahead, and within a matter of a month, it was slowed down, gradually slowed down to almost a halt, just enough so they could ease the train off the tracks and into the scrapyard. Did not go out with a bang. There was no aha moment. There's no moment that they're gonna make documentaries about. It's just a case where it slowed down, had no steam left. They eased it off the tracks, and like I said, they sent it off to the yard to be stripped of what valuable parts it had, and the rest of it to be rusted out forever. Pretty crazy. I've never seen that before, and I want to say that I'm not giving up on Angel. I think she can be a big-time contributor. I think she'll be a continued all-star, but she's going to have to make a lot of changes. The offense can never run through her. If she can learn to make a layup consistently, like more than 40% of the time, her rebounding abilities, I think, can make her a very valuable asset to a championship team, the WNBA's version of Dennis Rodman, basically. Hopefully minus the antics, but in the NBA, if you're as good as Dennis Rodman was on both rebounding and defense, you can get away with it. And I have a lot of respect for him and his game. But Angel Reese has to make a lot of changes. I think it turned a lot of people off when she had that month off for the Olympic break, just like Caitlin did, and Caitlin came back better, and Angel came back somehow even worse as far as the stuff that was an issue with her game. And it showed in their fourth matchup, Indiana-Chicago's fourth matchup, Caitlin versus Angel, part 4, when, Angel looked like she didn't belong on the court with Caitlin. She provided nothing for her team, and then was in there with the third stringers, the only starter, the all-star, with 4 third stringers from Chicago going against 5 third stringers from Indiana. Yeah, I know they don't have enough to have third stringers, but you get the point. And she was just gradually phased out of the picture almost instantly. It was we're not talking about her anymore. It was just like she was instantly forgotten and kind of pushed aside. And once that happened, new rivals. She was, now I guess she's going to be Asia's rival because Asia doesn't like her, even though, once again, this is all one-sided. Caitlin Clark has never come out and said anything bad about anybody. She's praised everybody, even the ones that have just taken these shitty, cheap shots at her. It's just crazy. But I've never seen a hype train go the way hers did. That's kind of a pretty sorry way to go out. You at least want to go out with a bang or a crash or in a blaze of glory. She just went out, just kind of phased out, eased out of the picture, and eased into the permanent parking lot. I don't think it'll be permanent, but I don't see her coming into next season with nearly as much hype. Her coach got fired, and hopefully Chicago will put somebody in there that will realize we need to utilize Camila Cardosa in that position in the middle a lot more. She can play defense. She can rebound at an almost comparable level, enough of a level, and she's a lot better at making her layups. So hopefully, because they need as many teams to be as good as possible, because they only have 12 teams. If you have 12 teams, only 2 are good. I mean, that's just it's already a bad look. There's really no easy way around that. Even as the MVP, Asia Wilson's the MVP of a 12-team league of 12 people rosters. Only 5 of which on any given roster, maybe 6 or 7, get significant playing time ever. So, I mean, what she really accomplished? Something, yes, but so many of the best women basketball players in the world are deciding to play overseas. And then we have a rookie that came in there and quite honestly is playing about 98% as good as she is already. And doesn't have the team around her that Asia has. Well, she does, but they're not experienced yet. They're not battle tested yet. But they're getting there. And Indiana showed that. But like I said, just a fascinating end to the Angel Reese hype train. Like I said, just a very, very woeful way to go out. Very meager way to go out. Very just unceremonial way. Just, oh yeah, we're done. Yeah, you're not it. We're done with you. There's no big proclamation or nothing. She was just quietly phased out of the picture. Which is probably why she decided to quit on the season. So there you go. That's it. That's the story of the Angel Reese hype train. To whoever gave their one vote to her, I hate it for them. I hate it for people like that have that kind of attitude, that kind of, we have to protect the cause and the culture, and it's such a minor part, and they make such big noise on social media, but they're not real. And my hope is that Angel Reese will realize that, start living in reality, take a very hard and honest look at herself, and become a force in the league, because this league needs as many good players as possible. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.